Hello everyone, it's me LinkingX2 back again with more daily MSI content. Today on the final day of the Rumble stage we have the banger of a match here. RNG versus Down1Kier first versus second. And yeah, RNG, they are looking to tie up Down1Kier and then have a battle for first place to set themselves up greatly for the knockout stage. So yeah, let's get right into the draft here. So yeah, starting with the Senna ban here from RNG versus Ghost. He has shown that he can pilot the champion and has some dominating performances the entire year and even yesterday. So that ban does make some sense, especially as Galla is not playing him anyway. So yeah, on the other side then we see Thresh ban versus Ming. Ming obviously plays Thresh a bit more than Beryl. And yeah, with Galla being a more carry focused player than Ghost is, the Thresh obviously will help Galla more than Ghost theoretically. Then we see the Varus ban. Here Varus, with Senna already being banned, loses a bit in its power, and especially banning it on the red side is a bit strange, because red side Varus is stronger and Varus is not really a first pickable champion. So yeah, that's a bit iffy. On the other side, ShowMaker's Zoe being banned, completely understandable. RNG making use of the freer bans they have on the blue side. Then we see also the Set ban versus Beryl. Even though he had some rough moments in the last few games, it's still a very comfortable champion for him, and maybe something that RNG has not really played against a lot, so they're probably a bit uncomfortable matching it. Then here we see the Lee Sin ban on the red side. Nothing too uncommon. It has come through a lot yesterday, and it always was somewhat strong. Even if it didn't win every game, it certainly had an impact. And yeah, Zhao is certainly a player that can play this champion, but this leaves Renekton open. Renekton, a pick that is usually being banned at the moment, especially on the red side, against Asian teams especially. It's going in quite fast. Way. So we see the Renekton being picked up here. Obviously, in some cases this can be flexed in the mid lane. Just ask ShowMaker, but usually it goes into the top lane. And yeah, he can be very impressive with an AP mage in the jungle. And well, that is the meta at the moment. We also see none of them are being banned. So yeah, Wei will obviously get one of these for himself. And then RNG can start building up a very strong top lane, which fits their playstyle. Yes, Galla is very important for them, but more so later in teamfights. Their early and mid game mostly rests on Xiaohu and Crying. So yeah, they're playing here to their team identity as a roster, I mean here. Then on the other side we see the Kai'Sa and the Udyr here. So the Udyr is a bit questionable, because if we go back to the power triangle of junglers, right? Udyr beats Rumble, Rumble beats Morgana, Morgana beats Udyr. Theoretically, Wei can now lock in Morgana and have a great matchup in this concept. And even if he doesn't care about that and just wants to get the Rumble for better team fighting and better early to mid game skirmishing, he can lock in that. And I think Morgana and Rumble are both superior than the Udyr. So yeah, I am not really agreeing with this. The Kai'Sa, not really a pick Ghost is super great at, but obviously denying it from Galla is a good thing to do. And yeah, Kai'Sa with the Renekton, it would have been already on theme, as both of them are like dive-in champions. So RNG didn't need to pivot too much from their early pick to pick up the Kai'Sa compositionally. And we see here the Morgana, nothing too strange, and also the Tristana, which this is super common, this rotation here. One team tries to pick away Kai'Sa, the other team just picks Tristana. Honestly, it's a bit stale in terms of drafting. And yeah, also Nautilus here, also a champion that has risen in priority. Nautilus and Leona are being picked over Alistar at the moment. Not really agreeing too much with this, as these champions are a bit more linear. But why are these champions now in the meta? Why are they now prioritized more so? This is obviously because the jungle position that usually offers engage now pivots more to mages and damage champions. So then the engage has to come from somewhere, and yeah, top laners usually stay to be quite greedy and yeah, look to pick Renekton on Jace and fun champions like that. So yeah, someone has to pick the engage, so tank supports are coming in again, or like more so than before. Yeah, that's why these come in. Still, Nautilus with Kai'Sa, already always mentioned these nice synergies they have with their passives and so on. And yeah, strange though, Nautilus versus Morgana, not really the greatest matchup, but hey. Then the Leona being banned, and we might expect to see an Alistar ban here as well, unless they want to yeah, throw a ban at Crying for some reason. Yeah, Lucian ban here. It's honestly a bit strange that Xiao picks Renekton over Lucian, because he has been targeted with Lucian bans all over the tournament, and yeah, his performances with Lucian were always quite dominant. So yeah, this is also something that is a bit strange. Obviously, Lucian is also not an OP pick per se. It's quite good in the meta at the moment, but yeah, has some weaknesses. And then we see the Gangplank, so 2 top lane bans here versus Khan. Khan, yeah, playing more so the Gangplank than the Lucian in my opinion. But yeah, both of them would be quite a hassle versus Renekton. And then here lastly, the TF ban here. You have a bit of a strange champion. I think Crying is nearly the only one that has played it. Yeah, I might be wrong, but he has played the most games of TF here, this MSI, and he actually rockets a quite high win rate with him. So this is good research and yeah, adaptation from Damankia. Obviously the Twisted Fate here would fit in nicely with RNG's comp, like they could seek to dive top lane more and more with the added advantage of the Renekton. And with Morgana also and the gold card, they would have a nice CC chain and pick potential. So yeah, comfort and team comp advantage. So yeah, get that thing off. So now Damankia looking for the mid lane and the top lane. With already the top lane being elected, I would highly recommend countering the top lane now, unless they fear that Renekton might go in mid. I mean, the potential here with RNG is Renekton in mid and Tristana in mid. Both would not be perfect, as they would be in a role where they either can't be used to 100% or where they can't make use of their counter to a higher degree, right? Tristana then can't lane counter the Kai'Sa, and the Renekton, yeah, is not really the greatest mid lane champion per se, unless he gets a favorable matchup. So yeah, I would still recommend countering here the Renekton, and then getting the blind pick here for ShowMaker, the last pick here for ShowMaker to counter Crying and the composition, and maybe adapt to any flexes with Tristana or Renekton. So here we would get the Scion. That would obviously limit things a few here for Damankia. So they have obviously a great front line, they have good engage. And yeah, Kai'Sa has some dudes to protect her, right? But they lack damage. Yes, they have some base damage for early and mid game skirmishes, but afterwards in the late game, yeah, there's a problem. Also with Kai'Sa not having long range, her DPS is not that consistent. What's the problem with this? This limits the potential of champions that ShowMaker now can elect, as he can't really elect any burst heavy champions. I would reckon he picks something like the Orianna, which is like effective against the like softer engage and dive here from RNG, and then it would obviously benefit with having tanks that can get the ball into things. It is also not the highest DPS champion, but yeah, like I mean, Victor would also be good, but Victor would not really like to have these champions on his team, so that's the issue with that. And we see here Gnar. So this confirms that the Renekton is going into the mid lane, and Gnar versus Sion, blue side Gnar, yeah, that's quite good for them with the slows and then a potential dark binding. But yeah, with this setup they're playing around mid lane, right? The Renekton in mid needs more snowball than a top lane Renekton, and needs more attention, more so. And then we see here Rel last pick. So yeah, as mentioned again, with the jungle meta as it is, and with top laners being a bit greedy, supports have to pick up the engage, and yeah, Rel is doing that with the bans already for the support position. That's fine. Galla Tristana also good level 2. Like it's the same talk we always have with the Tristana lane. If they can get an early level 2 and make use of that, they can snowball the lane, or at least the earlier levels. And yeah, now they have a bit more engage, so champions like Orianna and Victor both are very good. I would obviously assume Victor is being picked here, more DPS than the Orianna, better space control than the Orianna, because of lower cooldowns on these zone control abilities. And also looking at the ShowMaker's champion pool, he rather plays the Victor than the Orianna. So yeah, the Victor here is probably going to come in. Then we can start to talk about the lane matchups shortly, as I've already alluded a few things to them. Top lane, obviously the Gnar versus the Sion, taking into consideration the map layout, and the jungle pathing, Morgana starting on the bottom side of her jungle, pathing upwards, ending up there, where then with Gnar manipulating the waves correctly, they can look to punish the Sion. Sion passive is a bit of a blunder to that strategy, but yeah, that's still something they can look into. Udyr, on the other hand, he can start on either side of his jungle. He could start bot lane, but he kind of needs a leash, or he prefers one, so that would be a hindrance to their bot lane, right? Then he could look to match Morgana's pathing and end up also in top lane and save Sion a bit. But also with here the Renekton in mid lane versus the Victor, that's quite interesting. Obviously we have seen that like 3 years ago with Victor going top lane. We have seen that matchup. Since then a lot of things have changed obviously, but again, Renekton has range, Victor has a range advantage, but level 2 Renekton with E and W can obviously look to trade quite effectively. Level 1 with Victor Q, good trading tool for him. And overall Victor, unless he gets pressured and chunked because of bad trades, he will have the lane to push in, and the shorter lane makes it a bit easier for ranged champions, right? That's the reason why mid lane has the ranged champions and not top lane. So yeah, I think that Victor here is completely fine, but obviously RNG plans to snowball the Renekton, as it's a very vulnerable champion in terms of his effectiveness in the mid lane. Come to bot lane, level 2, very important. That's a benefit Morgana has. She doesn't really need a leash, so that's really a benefit for Tristana Rel. On the other side here, Kai'Sa and Nautilus. As always, Nautilus with Kai'Sa. If they get someone, they can blow them up surprisingly fast because of Kai'Sa passive being stacked super fast. So yeah, that's an avenue they have. So it's not a completely one-sided bot lane matchup here. Overall here, RNG, they have not as much scaling as Damwon Kia, mostly because of the Renekton and the Gnar, and also Morgana partially. So yeah, they really need to snowball their comp, and will probably look to snowball the mid lane, and then have him maybe go down to the bot lane, where Kai'Sa is a bit more vulnerable than other AD carries per se. And that could be a way RNG looks to accelerate the game pace, or just dragon stacking, that could also work. On the other side, Damwon Kia, they have a bit of an issue with here Tristana and Morgana outranging Kai'Sa, so in some skirmish scenarios Kai'Sa will be a bit fucked. But other than that, ShowMaker is seeking to be old reliable, well, they have a lot of frontline, a lot of CC to hold up and catch out yeah, some of RNG's key targets. The Black Shield obviously then very important 4-way to protect mostly Galla with this. So yeah, it's not a complete whitewash, not one comp is perfect or anything. Both have their clear win conditions, how they approach the different stages of the game. Which comp would I give the advantage to? It's a bit difficult to say. I think in solo queue, RNG's comps are obviously way better. But with yeah, RNG being a bit, yeah, I don't know, losing to C9, that was rough. So yeah, I think if they can perform not to a top level and they create super chaos on the map, down 1 KO will be, as usual, take a bit of the early game, but then come back and counterpunch in the later stages with superior team fighting. So yeah, I think down 1 KO has here the advantage with a bit more of a easier to play and more controlled front to back draft. So yeah, I get the advantage down 1 KO, and I think they will move then up to 8-1 and finish the Rumble stage in first place. But well, that's it then. Move to the next screen here. Yeah, that's it for today. This probably won't be the last video today. We will look at the last one of today again with C9 facing Mad Lions. This could be a potential tiebreaker. We have to see how the games go. So yeah, that will be a game with a lot of stakes and not only the EU versus NA rivalry. So yeah, check in again later today to not miss out on that. And yeah, not missing content. Yeah, subscribe and then let us see each other again in the knockout stage of MSI. There will be a ton of games to talk about. So yeah, and again, quick reminder, if you like what you saw and heard, yeah, maybe give the video a thumbs up. Really helps out a lot and really keeps one motivated to pump these videos out. But that's it for today. Wish you all a great day. We see each other later on.